Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All righty, welcome into a Tuesday edition of the JP Peterson Show here on this holiday week before Christmas. I hope you've gotten a lot more Christmas shopping done than I have. Oh, my Lord. I did ask Santa to bring me a NFC South championship. Not sure why. It's probably a bad idea in the long run. Say Merry Christmas to you, Nick Geddes. How are you? This I know you've got all your shopping done. Ha! Yeah. We're two birds of a feather.
You want a quick summary of what my Christmas shopping looked like this past weekend when I actually attempted to do it?
Sure.
I bought something for myself.
That's so me. That's so me.
Bought something for my sister.
Okay.
And then drew a blank on my mother. And okay. I'm still on the hunt for that. There you go.
Sure. Get that. Wow, that's impressive. That's impressive. But that's, what my extent of my Christmas shopping is? Nothing.
Oh.
I got one thing delivered Amazon for Ashley, and that's it. That's all I've done. But but that's typically where I'm at this time of year.
Isn't that where most men are?
I think so. We're just. I don't know.
Did you ever put the tree up yet?
Oh yeah, the tree's been up for a while. Oh, and it's spectacular. The tree this year is spectacular. It's so good. And by the way, what the hell? Why did you pay $300 for a tree? I went to Home Depot and got a $50 tree.
Okay, okay. First of all, I
may have gotten the 7-footer, and at the 6-footer price. Okay. I won't go into the details.
Okay. First of all, I didn't buy the tree. My mom did. Okay.
Why did she pay $300 for a tree?
Well, in November, that's how much trees cost. Now the trees, when I go into the stores, they're all like 50% off. So that's why it's different.
I got mine first week of December.
Well, it had changed. It feels like after Black Friday, the prices on trees changed. I got mine Black Friday, and that's how much they were.
You scared me. That was the Home Depot. I was like, wait.
And that was on the. By the way, that was on the cheap end, the 300.
I don't know what
everything we saw.
What tree yard you guys went to? Like, what company was that? Was it an actual marijuana tree or something?
I think I know that by now.
All the leaves would be picked off.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. So
we're winging it in Christmas, like normal. I'm winging it.
Yeah. I'll be fine. I got some days off this week, so I'll be fine to go get. I mean, and plus I don't have a whole lot of people to buy for.
Yeah, and here's the other thing too.
It's my son and my daughter have everything. They don't really need anything.
And here's the other thing. When you go out and about now this time of the year, like Saturday, as I'm literally driving to the mall, I'm hearing on the radio, this is the third biggest shopping day of the year, and I'm like, oh Lord, you know what that meant?
What?
Long lines.
Yeah.
When I see a line, I'm out. I'm out. I put everything back and I just get frustrated.
I'm out. Yeah. I hate waiting so bad. But you don't always have to wait in line. Like, I don't understand why people just wait and don't think and just sit and wait in lines. Like, I always see lines and I find ways around them. Like, we were at SeaWorld the other day, which I have to tell you about my SeaWorld trip. It's crazy. We're at SeaWorld, right? And so there's a line for this one place to buy donuts and coffee, right? I'm like, oh, I want donuts and coffee. The line was long. Literally 50 yards away was another place where you could go in and get like pizzas and hot dogs. And, oh, by the way, the same donuts and coffee as they're selling at the outdoor place. And there was no line. And I'm like, oh, well, okay. So I went in and got it. And I walked out to the other line. I said, y'all are waiting for this? There's no line in there. I said, I'm just doing y'all a service. If this is what you're looking for, there's no line in there. And they're like, oh, thanks, dude. So 10, 20 people went into the other place. So I did a little, Christmas service there. But I still don't understand why people do that. Like, why would you? It's 40 yards. Would you not? Is there another option here? Maybe. So anyway, but it did get me in the Christmas spirit. I haven't been to SeaWorld in 15 years. They've got a great Christmas whole thing set up. Dudes in guitars and stuff playing Christmas songs. Lights are everywhere. And I went and saw the dolphin and the orca show. I haven't seen that in years.
I've never been to SeaWorld.
You've never been to
SeaWorld?
Never been
to SeaWorld, no.
Dude, I don't know if it's just me, but holy heck. Watching those animals, those dolphins do what they do in synchronization and flipping and And I mean, I when I first saw it I was like 6 years old, Flipper at the Miami Seaquarium.
Mm-hmm.
And that Flipper was my favorite show. That's why I was crazy about Flipper. So I remember that moment. How did they get these freaking dolphins to do this stuff? And then the orca whales jumping and doing all the things they do in sequence. How the hell do they get them to do this? It's amazing. These humongous animals. I don't know why I'm so fascinated by it. But then they have the underwater shark encounter and the turtles. They have a beluga white whale that you can see, and the otters and everybody up close. This one walrus came right up. Here's right here. There's a pane of glass and a big tank. He's literally a foot away from my face, and he's just like this huge walrus, and he's just looking at me. We're I'm like, this is the most amazing thing ever. And you could do this at SeaWorld.
Yeah, I got to do more things I haven't looked at any lights. Haven't done any of that yet.
Yeah, see, I've done.
Usually, I used to go to Busch Gardens to the Christmas Town thing. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
And then what is it called? The ice show they have there.
Yeah.
Where they have the figure skaters.
Yeah.
They're doing all those things.
They do the same thing at SeaWorld.
Yeah, I like all that kind of stuff, but I haven't made it there. But I mean, like you said, we got a lot of time this week to get that stuff done.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys will get in the cruise. A lot of stuff out there to go see. I've never been to the Tropicana Field thing. People love that thing.
It looks cool.
Yeah, the ice, whatever it is under. I just, I still can't.
You just don't want to go there. Let's be real here.
Because it's expensive, and I know somehow Stu's getting a cut of that. The Grinch gets a cut of that Christmas deal. How bad is that? By the way, on tomorrow's show, we will be talking about the Rays and this new stadium. And I read the John Romano column from over the weekend, and I'm just it's so exhausting with this misinformation that's out there. But we'll get into that in our Wednesday show. But we wanted to hit the Bucs a little bit more and kind of go over, some of the residue from that. Todd Bowles spoke on Monday, so we'll play that for you. We're hoping TJ Reeves will be able to join us and take some time out for his Christmas shopping to join us as well. So, but we'll start with what I thought was kind of curious. You found this sound from the special teams coach from the Bengals as we go back to the flawed fake punt. I mean, there were 5 turnovers in 5 possessions, 6 possessions. So it's I don't know, did the fake punt, was that everything? Did it start the avalanche? Of course it did. But there was so much more to the game. But it just, this fake punt I think encapsulates everything that this Buccaneers team has been about. I just think it's just the complete personification, and you see it. This is everything that this Bucs team is about. It's about a coaching staff that is unsure of when to be aggressive and when not to be aggressive. They don't know how to manage games. Just no one. It's a coaching staff that is just so basic. They're so outcoached on a regular basis by other teams. It's like you feel bad for the players at times, and the players I think gave up on the coaching staff a long time ago. And it goes to the culture of you can't get this right. The most simple play. It's a very simple play. It's a direct snap to the up back and you run forward. It's not, we're not rolling out the punter here and flipping the ball to another guy, some complex trick play. This is as easy as it gets. And I personally thought, as I said on yesterday's show, I thought the timing was good because unexpected is the best time to do it. And if you have a good play and you believe in yourself, you should. And I do. There was no way you were going to win that game with 17 points. So all that stuff comes into play here. And what's really bizarre now is this development is that the Cincinnati Bengals knew exactly what was coming. Tell me what you found here.
Yeah, this was a clip here from their special teams coordinator Darren Simmons, and I guess he spoke on a local radio show, and basically kind of saying that they knew exactly what was coming here when they saw Giovanni Bernard in the game. So. Let's listen to the quote here.
Well, I don't know. I think there was a communication error on their part. Obviously we were very, very aware that Gio could be in there. Gio had not been in there the whole year as the PP on the punting. And we certainly knew that if he came in there, that something could be up. So we were kind of ready for that. We were really alerted to it. We didn't know that they'd try it back up like that. I think there's probably a bit of a communication error on their part, and I think it was maybe 17-6 at the time, and I thought that was a big turning point in the game. You could really feel the momentum, and that kind of started the barrage in the third quarter right there of the tide really slipping. So it was a big play in the game.
I think really.
Come on, man. This is a guy that's played for the Bengals. It's not like you're sneaking somebody in there, right? Giovanni Bernard.
Yep.
All right. If you're going to run a fake, you don't change your personnel. Like that's a duh. That's a duh. I mean, you don't change your personnel for this game to run a trick play. It's like just broadcasting it to the other team. I mean, what are you doing? So in that vein, again, they're just completely outcoached. And then you can't even execute. And I'm here to say, even though they knew, and you heard him say, well, we didn't think they would try it there. And that backed up, which is, again, the perfect time to do it. But, again, you had to stay aggressive against this team. Your defense played great in the first half. There was I'm sorry, but for everybody who thinks they were going to put two halves together defensively like that, I, as a head coach, would say, no, we have to stay aggressive and do things like that. So that's why I think it was not a horrible call, as other people think. You're in control of the game. Really? You're the Bucs. Have you not seen them play this year? You think they were going to win with 17 points? And I understand you're handing them, but come on, just execute. The football is the game of execution. Execute the freaking play.
Yes, and you say like you're not going to win with 17. That's true, and we've criticized them for that. But there's other moments in the game that I think were a lot easier, and there was a lot less margin of error to be a little bit more aggressive. And as I said yesterday, that is on the 4th and 3 down near the goal line where you decide to just take the 3 points and move on. That's a play right there. The punting on a 4th and 1 from your own 37, or not punting, kicking the field goal.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, to me, those are easier plays with less room for something catastrophic to happen, I think, in those situations. But again, that's all in hindsight. Changing the personnel, I'm not too entirely sure who usually is out there for the punt team right there. But, I mean, in my head, I'm thinking, like, is Ko Keefe usually like one of those guys sitting there?
Yeah, it's usually a backup tight end or backup linebacker. And usually have some skill guys in there in case you want to run a fake. Yeah, it would be a tight end.
Like, can I count on one of those guys just to catch the football and run? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I feel like I can.
Absolutely. If you can't, you're not doing it right. You need to have guys in there that have some skill to run fakes. You should be doing that. That's one of the reasons all special teams guys have those guys available to. You should have fake punts, fake field goals, all that should be in your arsenal, and you should be able to run them and execute them well.
At the end of the day, this was the same moment as we saw in the Seattle game. Even though the Bucs were able to pull that one out, this is the same thing like throwing a pass to Tom Brady when everything was rolling. You immediately halt momentum when you do that. And they were able to get away with it in that game. But in this one, it just created a snowball.
Horrible execution again on your trick play.
Yes.
Horrible execution. You should know when the guy goes out there to cover Tom Brady, play is off.
But again, this is
what smart teams do.
Then this is a team.
Not a smart team.
This is a team that when they're playing just straight up offense, they can't scheme much open at all.
Right.
They can't really get anything right. So I'm expecting them to get trick plays right now. That's what I'm supposed to expect.
Well, I don't think that you can capitulate because you suck at executing everything. Let's just say we're going to stop trying to execute. You can't coach. All right, let's dumb everything down and simplify everything because I think you're just capitulating to being a bad football team at that point. And you got good skill and you've got experienced players. It's not like there's a lot of rookies out there. You know, Giovanni Bernard's been in the league for a long time. Like he should be able to.
What have you done for me lately?
He should be poised enough to understand what his assignment is and get it done. But the fact that they've never put him in that position before, and they put him in there. Obviously, they did it earlier in the game. You're broadcasting already that you're going to run a fake. That's just dumb. For you to think that you're going to put somebody in the game and they're not going to notice. That's bad coaching. That's just such bad coaching.
Hour.
It's amateur hour. It's exactly what it is. Exactly. So, as bad as many of you think the call was and the timing of it, the execution of it is far worse. It's far worse. That just shows how terrible you are at coaching your football team and how there's no accountability and guys aren't playing with a focus and an edge that they need to play with. And doesn't that look like the way we've played all year long? The Bucs have played all year long. Yeah. They don't play with a focus and an edge. They make stupid mistakes all the time. There's no accountability. And as we talked about yesterday in the Bulls press conference, he's holding nobody accountable on anything at any point. It's like when asked about the specific turnovers, does he say Tom can't fumble the ball? Tom can't throw it that way. Tom can't do this. No, he says, well, people are fumbling the ball and there's no public accountability whatsoever. And you can say, well, they do it in private. Do you know that? I don't know that because it certainly doesn't show it on the field. The last 2 years, like I asked Tom Brady in the post to say the last 2 years, you guys weren't beating yourself like this. Why is this year different? giving him an opportunity to say the things that he normally says on his podcast when Bowles is not, sitting in the other room. And he's just like, oh, we can't turn the ball over. Well, duh. He kept it specific to this game. And, I'm not saying that being accountable to the public will make you a better team, but it at least shows that you're willing to do it.
Yeah.
You're willing to do it. And you can sit there and tell me that you're doing it behind closed doors, but where is the evidence of that?
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing with what we saw after the game with Giovanni Bernard, which by the way, that thing is getting a ton of play on social media. I saw Kevin Durant had thoughts on it.
It was interesting what Durant said.
Yeah, I'll pull up what Kevin Durant said, but he said something. Chris Cyborg, if you recall, the MMA fighter, had some thoughts on it, and a lot of other NFL players have started to chime in too. But let me go to what Kevin Durant said here. He said Giovanni handled it like a true pro.
No, he didn't.
And then
you're trying to run away.
And then he followed
trying to run away. The PR people have to stop you.
He followed that up with entitlement in this world has gone to another level. Media believes they are responsible for the popularity of the game.
What?
So that was what he had to
say. Listen, there may be NBA media that feel that way. And I think there are some people in the media that feel that way, that they're the reason, which is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But it's the media's job to ask him that question. And again, I said this yesterday, I'll say it again. This is professional football, all right? This is part of your job to answer questions from the media. If you were a college player, I'll give you a pass, okay? You're a professional football player, Gio. You've been in this league a decade, all right? When things are going well, everybody wants to talk to you. You guys love the media. But when things go wrong, you hate the media. So it's a little bit of a double standard there. And for you, Kevin Durant, I mean, please.
Well, I think a lot of people. Are you saying
that the media is entitled to get an answer? Yes, we are entitled. That's our job. And you're, as a professional, you're actually contractually obligated to talk to the media at certain times, including after the games. So
yeah, I think a lot of people are more talking about the exchange with the reporters, like what they had to say during this whole thing, and not showing a lack of compassion in that moment, and kind of as some people kept saying, a maggot mentality of just poking to get the answer, even though he answered every question, but he gave the same answer every one, and clearly that's all he was going to give.
Well, listen,
and everybody's going on and on about that exchange.
I was standing there as well. Okay. And I felt like all the questions were asked ahead of me. So there's a lot of people in the media that were part of that scrum, probably, that even though questions are already asked, that they feel like they have to ask them again. I'm not one of those people. If you ask a question and it's not, now he wasn't answering the specific question. So he was like, did you know that the fake punt was on? He was like, my fault. Well, you're not answering. He did answer the question there for a second. Let's play the exchange again. I think that's fair. Let's play the exchange. And then we could talk more about what Cyborg said and everybody else. But just so everybody knows what we're talking about again. So I'm part of this media exchange. We go up to Giovanni. He's got his back to the media. We're waiting politely and patiently as he gets ready. He puts his clothes on because we have to ask him about this play. Because it might not be his fault, right? It might not be his fault. We want to get his version of what happened. So and then as soon as he turns around, he's like, oh, now you guys want to this. I don't think you can hear that on this particular piece of tape. Oh, now you guys want to talk to me when I do, and that's unfair to the reporters. Yeah. What were we going to talk to you about? You've been injured all year.
I got one here that's a little bit clearer, so you might be able to hear it a little better.
All right, cool.
So we're on with this one.
All right.
Yeah, I'll talk to you this week.
Well, you were injured all year.
What have you done for us to talk to you about all year? I talked to you Tuesday. Don't say you're not talking because I didn't talk to you all year.
You were also injured most of the season too.
Just relax. Can I go to my family that I have outside? And
you
all
can.
Of a sudden now?
Just don't say we didn't talk to you all year.
We just wanted to ask for your perspective on what happened there.
You're involved in one of the biggest plays of the game.
Okay.
Thank you, Jew.
Appreciate your time. We do.
We won't hold you.
We would have talked to you in the season, but also you were injured.
Just tell us what occurred on the play.
Miscommunication. That's all it was on my part. I take complete fault for that.
Was it a fake?
I don't know. It was complete fault. My fault. That's it.
Is this something the team hasn't practiced?
It's all me. All me. That's something I did wrong, and that's all.
So you were
It was all
aware?
on me. Yep. Number 25 out there. That was me. I was the one that did it.
But were you aware
it
that
was
it was
just
a fake?
me? Yeah, I messed up.
I understand that, but I'm just asking if you knew it was.
I
We
messed
just
up.
didn't know if it was a communication
Yeah, I
breakdown.
messed up.
Thanks, Jew.
Yep.
Okay, so I can see why people are a little upset at the media in this, because it does, like, it felt like there was badgering going on, like, you know, and for me, I'm standing right there. I see Nelson and Michael, the PR people. I see them handling the situation. So I'm telling, in my mind, I don't have to badger him about it. But but if without Greg, telling him, hey, we just want to talk to you, and I think Greg was really offended by the fact that he said, oh, now you guys want to talk to me, and I get that, and that's 100%. That's not fair to the reporters. But it did seem, it seems more like an ambush than it really was, because I was standing right there.
The quote there I think it might have been Greg that said it or somebody, and that's what a lot of players and former athletes are kind of bringing up, was the "what have you done for us to talk about you all year," was what everybody seems to have a problem with. Like,
well, it's true.
Like, people are saying that's one of the most like outrageous things they've seen like a media member say to a player.
Yeah, I think it does come off as like somewhat rude, but I was there in the moment, and maybe the way he said it was a little aggressive, but the sentiment I agree with. Like, what were we supposed to come, ask you about? How's the IR going? Are you going to play this year?
It's a weird. I mean, he's not a big part of this team. Right. Let's just call it what it is.
Because he's been injured.
He's been injured, but even then, he's, at best, your third running back. Right now, he's your fourth running back.
Right.
That's just kind of the way it works. When you're that low on the depth chart and you haven't been playing because you're injured, there's just not much to talk about.
Right. And so what are we supposed to talk to you about?
He's here now, right? This is one of his first games back, I believe. And he was a part of a big play, a turning point in this game.
Huge.
You have to expect to say something.
And we want to get your side of the story.
Yeah, and especially because I believe, and you were there, so correct me if my timeline's wrong, I believe Bowles spoke before this exchange.
Yes, before. Yes.
So you get his hand of information, and now you go to the player to get what they had to say.
Exactly.
To make sure both stories line up.
Right, exactly.
So I get it from that sense. The media wants to get that right.
100%. I mean, that is the way the job is done. And again, I keep going back to, what if he gets it right and runs for 80 and scores a touchdown?
You're still going to him.
Of course. You were involved in one of the biggest plays. Was he going to walk out then? Sorry, guys, you haven't talked to me all year. I'm not going to talk to you now. No, you're going to sit there and soak it up.
It's
right?
just one of those things.
You played for the Bengals all these years. How does it feel to make a big play against them?
Yeah. It's just,
I bet he'll talk about that.
It's just one of those things.
I don't mean to be rude to Giovanni, because I like him. And he's a really good dude. And I said this yesterday. I have a friend that lives near him, and he can't speak more highly about him. The guy is a great dad. He's just a super dude. So I don't want to, I'm talking about this particular incident. I think he was in the wrong. And I think, the reporter sounded, but I know Greg and I know Rick and Jenna. And I think Jenna was, kept talking about it when Nelson says, hey, let's ask a question. That was my feeling. Let us ask the question. Let's stop apologizing. He stopped now. Let's ask the question. Okay. But I think, their sentiment was right. It's like, you haven't done anything all year, man. Like, what do you want me to come talk to you about?
Yeah.
So
it's
just
every one of those things. They're pissed off because they lost the game. And you have tense moments like this. It just happens in this business. And it's uncomfortable for everybody, but
and I also think, again, it's football. We're not, this is not, you can make millions of dollars to play a game. And one of the tough things you have to do is answer questions from weasels like us. It's not that hard. You just answer the questions and you move on, and that's it. It's over. So again, to me, this just goes to, it's a microcosm of all the issues that this team has had all year long. You can't get the basic stuff right. Guys are not playing with focus. They're not. And when that's the case, it's because of a lack of accountability. How many, for God's sakes, we saw it for how long around here? Until Bruce Arians came in, until Tony Dungy came in. There's just a complete lack of accountability. That's why bad teams are bad teams, and a lack of talent. Obviously, this team does not have a dramatic lack of talent. There's plenty of talent here to win more and to be better. And they're not. And I put so much of this on the coaching staff. You can't, in a moment like that, not execute that play. It's just terrible. If you're going to call it, you better be damn well sure that you can execute the damn play. And clearly they couldn't. All right. Todd Bowles talked on Monday, and we gleaned a little bit more from what went on in the game. Let's take a break, and we'll come back on the other side, and we'll hear from Todd Bowles on his Monday presser. I think there's a little bit more light on the subject, some other things that were talked about. And how does this team move forward? I mean, it's the most unbelievable thing. They're terrible, but they're still in first place because the rest, everybody else sucks. So what do? We're brought to you by the great folks at Emerging Investigation, Tampa Bay's #1 private investigation agency, and the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. If your car has been totaled in an accident and you don't think you got a proper settlement, you probably have a case. Make the free call to the Jeeves Law Group. Tell them JP sent you. Back in 3.
Catch the JP Peterson Show.
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell him JP sent you.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595, or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashland Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. We hope you guys are having a great holiday season, and we'll have a very, very Merry Christmas. If you're a Buccaneers fan, probably not so much, but you get to watch them on Christmas night in Arizona.
I was going to say.
What a great
how
treat
am I
that will
supposed to
be.
get in a holiday cheer for that? Are you kidding me?
Think about that. So is Colt McCoy, did he get hurt too?
He got hurt. That's why Trace McSorley is probably going to be the guy.
Trace McSorley is going to be the guy. Trace McSorley against Tom Brady, the GOAT, in Arizona on Christmas night.
And somehow it's not even the worst game on the slate, because we have to watch, or we don't have to watch, the Rams and the Broncos on Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon?
The Nickelodeon slime game, the Rams and the Broncos. And people were saying that this is how this is how a whole generation of kids never plays football or watches
Just by
football.
watching this, they'll be scarred for life.
By watching this crap on Nickelodeon.
Well, Baker can act like a child, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. What a bizarre game though here, and it actually counts. I mean, this is just not a game that you can throw away.
It's a huge game.
It's a huge game for the Buccaneers. A huge game, and what Lord knows what's going on in Arizona. With their coaching staff moving forward.
I have to hope that they're just like, man, we just want to get this thing over with. We're gonna roll over and die. They look like it.
Somebody's telling me like something going on with Steve Keim.
He stepped away with GM. He stepped away with a health issue.
But there was some other story about a security guard in Mexico that was claiming she was groped by someone that looked like Steve Keim.
Where are you getting your news?
Yeah, from Joe Bucs. I was talking to Lee DeCamper about this.
I have no idea.
And then we're like, okay. And then there's a lot of bizarre things happening. By the way, not implicating Steve Keim in any of this anyway whatsoever. But there's just all these bizarre things going around. And the Cardinals are freaking disaster.
I know they fired a coach.
Yeah.
In Mexico.
Yeah, maybe that was it. Maybe that was that coach that was involved in that. So not Steve Keim, not involved anyway.
I don't know.
My bad. It's just scuttlebutt, right? So it's just weird what's going on with that franchise. You think anybody in Arizona wants to come out and play on Christmas night?
That's what I'm saying. They just look like they just want to roll over and die.
After this game for the Bucs, you think any of them want to come?
They just lost to Brett Rippon.
Do you think the Buccaneers want to fly to Arizona on Christmas week?
That's
how. I mean, they've been focused all year long.
Yeah.
How focused you think?
And they're probably
going to,
and because it's so far out west, it's not like a Seattle trip or LA trip, San Francisco, but it's pretty it's far out there.
4-hour plane ride.
So I think they're going to be going there on like the 23rd.
Right.
So you're just going to be away for the entire holidays. I don't like that.
Yeah. So, we get the best out of either team. It's just going to be, who knows?
It might be ugly football.
Right, we're brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center and the Jeeves Law Group. And don't forget about your health insurance, folks. It's this time of year where you can make sure that you are covered and your plan is not changed, and all those things. And if you're looking at the health insurance marketplace, Obamacare, some people call it, here's a great way to go about it. There are third-party companies out there that will help you with this and are accredited and secure and all these things. And this is a company I've used. 888-325-0605 is the number. 888-325-0605. They will help you navigate the health insurance marketplace. One out of three people in Florida are uncovered because they think that they can't afford it. This is not true, folks. If you're one of those people, listen to me now and call the number 888-325-0605. I've got Florida Blue, great insurance for $50 a month. It depends on what your income is, how many kids you got, your whole situation. So if you have that information available, your tax returns, that will be helpful, but you don't need it. Just give them a call and get the process started. 888-325-0605 and get covered, get your kids covered. It's cheaper than you think. So find out what the subsidy is. And if you end up in an employer plan that you're paying into, you might be able to get it cheaper and better insurance. So call the number and find out. 888-325-0605 and tell them you heard it on the JP show. All right, let's listen in to Todd Bowles, who spoke on Monday, after digesting the tape and the fake punt and everything else that went on. There's some more pointed questions and also on how to move forward. because they still
Hey,
can
though.
make the playoffs. Awkward silence.
That's what about your defensive secondary. I know you had a bunch of guys that were uncertain going into things. We saw that Winfield left. But I want to ask you about him and Mike Edwards and just where they stand right now.
Winfield's day to day with his ankle. He didn't finish the game, obviously. Mike played half the game. As he gets in better shape, hopefully gets healthier this week, he'll play a lot more.
That's
the
good.
Bengals special teams coach said he noticed Giovanni Bernard take one snap as a personal protector in the pregame, and that they were alerted when he went in the game that it was going to be a fake. Did Giovanni try to call off that play and no one got the message, or was there anything like that happened?
Well, there was no call off. It was just a mistake, and we talked about it in the meeting and we corrected it and we moved on from there. It doesn't. We talked about it in the meeting. That's for us. We don't really divulge that kind of stuff. So.
All right, stop it.
It didn't work.
Let's hear the whole thing.
That's the bottom line.
I'm not a head coach of a football team. I know Todd Bowles does things the way he wants to do things. But, and I somewhat respect it because Bowles is taking a lot of heat for making the call. And he doesn't want to throw Gio or anybody else under the bus. But if you're using a person who's a running back in that situation and you've not used them before, to think that the other team is not going to be alerted is just silly. It's silly. I mean,
it's literally equivalent to the Brady play of doing it 5 plays later,
right?
Than when you first showed it and not
right.
thinking they're not going to pick up on it.
Yeah,
bizarre.
That's just very, very naive. It's very, 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 and the fact that he doesn't want to tell the fans, the media. I don't think you're giving away any, certainly not giving any trade secrets away here. I guess you're trying to protect your players, but this goes back to it again. The public accountability. It's football, man. If you sit there and say, look, everybody knew the play, Gio didn't, he can take the heat. He gets paid. I mean, what's the problem here? And if these guys know that they're going to be protected by their head coach when they F up, like this, doesn't that lead to a lack of accountability? Isn't that what we're seeing all over the field this year? Isn't it the different from Bruce to Todd that Bruce held them publicly accountable? Am I just taking this too far? This seems as obvious as the nose on your face.
I mean, well, everybody's got their own style, but it just seems like this one, it's not working though.
Exactly.
So
and
like
this is why Todd Bowles' head coaching record is what it is.
At some point, you've got to evolve a little bit.
Yeah. Especially when you've seen other guys like Bruce do it a certain way and it works.
I think that's what's hard to come to grasp with it.
Maybe it's because Todd was a player and Bruce was not an NFL player.
Perhaps.
Maybe it's because Todd was a player and he didn't get called out publicly.
And it makes it, honestly, it makes it worse because we're only a year removed, not even, of Bruce being the guy in charge. And we saw how it was.
Mm-hmm.
And there's such a stark contrast, I guess.
And such a stark contrast between the teams, too.
Yes. And that's why it's just hard to come to grips with it.
I mean, this team is, again, reverted back to mistakes, turnovers, bad penalties, guys not doing their job, miscommunication. This is what we saw pre-Bruce Arians.
Yeah.
And now Bruce is gone, and we're back to that. And there's a different head coach. You guys can do the math. I hate to be that way on Todd, but you guys can do the math. It is what it is. I love the guy, but, man, it's pretty obvious.
Gio had kind of taken ownership after the game and said it was on him, that there's nobody else involved in what went wrong, is there?
No, but, he took ownership, so we move on from it. He made a mistake.
Coach, we saw that Leonard had 19 more snaps than Rashad at running back. Was that by design or just kind of the way the game was going?
It's kind of how it worked out. It wasn't by design.
You've had, obviously, turnovers were a big story the last few weeks. Tom was really good with the ball, and in the last 3 weeks, he thinks that's 7 turnovers. How much is your quarterback hurting your team right now with turnovers?
No, turnovers hurt any team. It's hurting us big time, whether it's the quarterback, whether it's a fumble by the running backs, whether it's special teams, or whether it's defense not getting them. Turnovers are big for us not winning right now because they're crucial and keeping the short field. I think the short field yesterday probably was the whole second half. And, it's hard to play a team like that with that kind of talent and play on half the field.
Time ready to probably play another young quarterback. You played young guys all throughout the season, and you haven't had a lot of success. Is it difficult to plan out for guys you don't have a lot of film on? Did the other teams scheme up differently when they're playing young quarterbacks?
I'm sure they do some things that tailor to their strengths, but you're playing a scheme, so you don't ever play against the quarterback. They do a good job of managing the game for them and doing certain things that doesn't put them in jeopardy of just airing the ball out.
The first half was probably the best you guys done in a long time. Getting Mike Evans involved in the offense, had 5 catches for 83 yards in the first half. Is there something Cincinnati did defensively to shake the safety to the side, or to adjust things to have him have no catches in the second half?
No, they adjusted a few things. A couple times we had them open, or we didn't have time to protect them, or the read went the other way. So, a lot of things came about in that.
They didn't have the ball much. That
Was
the biggest thing.
Tristan this past weekend, is he in play at all for Arizona?
We'll see how he looks this week. He moved around some last week. We'll try to ramp up his rehab and see where he stands.
Is Workson play the same way? He's Vega the same way.
Who was that?
Vita.
Vita's probably a little behind Tristan right now.
I saw Vita
We
walking.
talked a lot about the NFC South. We still got a 1-game lead. I don't know if surprised is the word, but when you look at the division itself, why do you think it's had such a rough go? Is it the quarterback position, not Brady, but the other team is still trying to figure out who their guy is, or what do you attribute to such a down division?
I don't know. We've been beating each other up, and then we just haven't been doing well out of the division. We haven't been winning. That's my main concern. I don't really worry about the rest of the division, but it turns out that we're all in the same boat, and we're all fighting to survive.
Hold up a second. There is something that's pretty universal in the division. Bad coaching. Dennis Allen, Matt Rule got fired. Steve Wilkes has done a better job. Atlanta's been going through a transition as well. I don't think they're very well coached. I mean, Arthur Smith, I'll give him.
All things considered, he probably has done the best with what he's working with.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And, he's had a lot of issues.
Steve Wilkes, I guess, but.
Yeah. So, but they're all new coaches.
Yeah.
They're certainly not proven coaches. So, and Todd Bowles would certainly be in that realm as well. Coaching matters.
You played a game on Christmas Day before. What's that like to have to obviously put things aside to have a game, especially away from home like this?
Well, if you're on the road, it's kind of tough because ain't nothing on the hotel but the Yule log. But other than that, you kind of focus and refocus it, and it's kind of like playing on Thanksgiving a little bit. Everybody's there. If you're at a home game, everybody's there, and you got your family and everything. If you're on the road, all you have is each other. You get bonding time, and you go play the game.
At this point in his career, Brady clearly doesn't have a lot of mobility. How much does that affect what you do on offense and what you can't do on offense?
John Romano.
I don't think it affects anything. I mean, he didn't come in running a 4.4 when we got him. So, we have our stuff tailored around him and what he can do. He's mobile enough to move in the pocket, whether it's 1 step or 2 or 3 steps to the left or right, and make plays. And, we got to protect him better, and then we got to get open. Then he's got to get rid of the ball as well.
Is it so hard to just say, we're limited in some ways, obviously, but he has, he's strengths in other ways. I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, there's no question that this offense is limited by what he can do physically. But what they've done the last 2 years is take advantage of what he does from a cerebral standpoint in preparation. But his preparation has certainly been affected this year more than it ever has. So just not the same Brady. He's just not the same Brady this year. Not saying that in a mean way. It's just they're facts. He's had a lot of stuff to do off the field, and that hasn't been the case with him most of his career. All right, let's welcome in our good friend TJ Reeves, Bucs sideline guy. A Merry Christmas to you, my friend. My compatriot and I have shared our stories of how woefully unprepared we are for Christmas.
So have you shopped for the twins and mom? Everything good?
So yes, I like how you phrase that. Have you shopped as opposed to have you completed everything? It is still a work in progress, and the way that I look at it is just like the Buccaneers. Until it says 0-0-0 on the clock, babe, we still got a chance to win the game. So we got time this week right now to get all of this done.
Tom Brady ain't walking through that door, pal.
But listen, I am a veteran. Dare I say, I'm the GOAT at being able to get this done even 2 days before or a day before, whatever you got to do. The complication, JP, is that I got to go to Arizona on Friday. So this has got to be done, truncated a couple of days earlier than I normally am operating to get all this done. So we're going to Arizona on Friday, trying to get it all done. And look, the only thing that I can say in sitting here is we have the holidays. We have family time coming up. That's all a good, distraction. This is more important than what we have with sports. But eventually we're going to get around to Sunday night and Christmas night after we do the family stuff and the food and watch all the other games. And now this is going to take on huge, huge significance for the Arizona game. So I know we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. We can relive. Are you going to beat me up very much? I know.
No,
Sunday was Sunday. You can beat me up a little bit, and I got some recap thoughts on some stuff.
This is Tuesday.
Listen. I am king of the playoff scenario and future. Right. Come at me if you want that right now, because I got all kinds of stocking stuffers and gifts under the tree about playoff scenarios and past playoff stuff that's happened, and we'll see what happens with this team. But lead whichever way you want to go. I'm at your service this holiday Tuesday.
Yeah, we've beaten the dead horse pretty much on that. So, but I will just ask you this, because of your tremendous access, and you don't have to give away any trade secrets here, but just the general mood of the team following that loss, because that was. I mean, we've been a part of a lot of Bucs losses, my friend. We have seen a lot. That one was stunning in so many ways. So it has to affect the psyche of the team.
No question. And okay, so let's relate it if you have not done so. And forgive me, I've not been able to hear the show here before. But you can relate to the collapse against Peyton Manning and the Colts and Tony Dungy's return 0-3 Monday Night Football.
Nick mentioned that yesterday.
Okay, so that's a 21-point collapse in the final 5 or 6 minutes of the game.
Yes.
Your guy, my guy, Rondé Barber, pick 6. They're up by 21. And then not unlike the special teams blunder with Giovanni Bernard, you give up like a 90-plus yard kickoff return.
Yep.
In that Monday night game where Tony Dungy had been contemplating, oh my God, I'm saying it again, 20 years later, taking Peyton Manning out of the game. The game is over.
Right.
As far as they're concerned. They didn't want him to get hit again by Warren Sapp and Simeon Rice and the Buck defense, Derek Brooks, those guys. So he stays in the game. They get 2 more on. You thought this was a special teams blunder of blunders. They got 2 more onside kicks after that.
That's right.
After they got the touchdown. 3 special teams blunders opened the door for Marvin Harrison and company. Okay, so I'm answering the question this way. I remember that locker room. I remember going in that locker room. I was not in my current role doing the live post-game show, but I believe you were in there with me. You may have been on the set on Channel 8, doing the live newscast. I can't remember. But this was similar, and this was early in the season, October. But this was, how did we lose that game?
Yeah.
And I remember how livid John Lynch was, because John Lynch had hurt his shoulder and he was playing with a shoulder harness. They had his shoulder harnessed where he could even lift his arm and play. They were trying to get him out of the harness, and he was ready to punch walls, ticked off. So I can kind of equate it to that meltdown, which was more spectacular in the final 5 minutes of the game. This was all in the third quarter. I mean, I try to have levity here. I come on the FanStream JP show. I try to have levity. All right. I felt like a fighter trapped in the corner, just taking shots from Tyson or Sugar Ray Leonard or somebody, because you can't get the ball out of your own 20-yard line like 5 possessions. I stayed to the right of the Buccaneer bench, the TV right, from the 25 down to the goal line for literally like about 45 minutes of actual time. I was taking an 8 count and getting up and getting knocked down again and taking another 8 count. It was just hard, but it was the third quarter. It was the third quarter, not the end of the game, where the meltdown was happening. And so you want another story? I'm just full of it. Full of stories. Yeah, go ahead.
What is pertinent to this discussion is that Rondé looks back on that game and says that was the end. That was the end of our Super Bowl defense. Everything avalanched after that.
Mm-hmm.
Keyshawn quit on the team. I mean, everything just knows after that. So people are wondering, is that going to have the same effect on this team? Because this team is still, as we know, still very much in the playoff hunt, and there's still time to turn this around. And even Tony Romo said on the broadcast that, you know what, I think the Bucs found something here in the first half. They found something that they can build on. So even though it was a debacle, Brady finally looked confident. They were getting Mike Evans involved. They were playing good defense. So they may have found something here that they can hold on to. So there's a positive nugget. I
love your positive hopes.
Would you agree with Tony Romo?
But he's not talking about the second half. Then the second half happens, obviously. Right. And so now you wonder, is there a carryover effect in that if you make a mistake Sunday night in Arizona, which you probably will,
of course,
does everybody start looking around going, what's happening bad next? And then what's happening bad after that?
And we've seen that.
Very difficult to keep that out, that out of your head after what happened. So you need some good things to happen early to try to prevent that. But it's a great point that you make, that will this damage you from here on out for these final 3 games with how that happened? Very valid. So anyway, I wanted to relate one more fun story because you love these. I'm standing down there next to Tracy Wolfson of CBS. Yes. The first thing is, this about me, Nick. I think you've been around me a couple times. I'm almost 6'4". Tracy Wolfson may not be 5'3", even with the heels on. She is tiny. So I'm always loving talking to her, but she's a little bitty. Mm-hmm. So we're talking, and she came back over to me, and I said, this is unreal. I said, you've worked so many Patriots games with him for the AFC package on CBS Sports. Mm-hmm. I said, have you ever seen him with 4 turnovers like this, essentially in a quarter? And she goes, never. She goes, but there's 12 minutes left and it's Tom effing Brady. And she said the effing. And I went, and that's a great reminder. You were right here, CBS, Nance, Romo, and Tracy Wolfson for the Rams comeback in the final minute to win the game. So you kept hoping against hope, go back to the well again, get him the ball, get a touchdown, get back in the game in the fourth quarter to have a chance to win the game. And the Bengals just didn't let it happen. No. And you guys know this. And for the audience, you cannot keep relying on the other team to give you the chance. The good team's going to put you away. Right. Eventually, a couple good teams are going to put you away. The Bengals are a good team, and they put you away. So I got plenty of stories here. I got playoff scenarios. Whatever else you want to travel, my friend, I'm at your disposal.
Let's talk about the playoff scenarios. All right. So, obviously, if they win the last 2 games, we've all kind of done the machinations.
Correct.
Then if they beat Carolina and Atlanta, they're in. If Carolina wins their last 3 games, they're in. So they have their destiny in their own hands. The bottom line for me is this Arizona game really for the Buccaneers.
Wait, so help me because I've been explaining all this. You're saying if Carolina wins their 3 and the Bucs don't win all 3.
Well, they can't because Carolina's playing the Bucs.
Well, Carolina would beat the Buccaneers. True. This is why I have you here for the help. So if Carolina wins out, they control their own destiny at the moment.
Right.
Who wants to wager something with the playoffs on the line that Carolina is going to beat the Bucs at Raymond James Stadium? I'm taking all comers. Bring it to me. If the playoffs are on the line, bring it to me. Keep going.
I don't think, I don't think this is what's weird about this. There's nothing that this team can't do. We saw it in the first half. They can outplay the Bengals, who everybody has as a Super Bowl favorite, for a half. They can do it. We saw them. They have the personnel. They can do it. And they didn't, and the Bucs did, it wasn't like the Bucs did everything right in that first half. They stalled in the red zone again a couple of times. But the defense played well, and everybody, that's the team that we thought we would see, right? And then you see the second half. So this team can do anything. The world is. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I think my problem with it, and just kind of relating it to Brady and ever being out of it because you have him. I mean, 6 years ago we were talking about him falling off a cliff, right?
Yep.
We've already been there. The difference is this year, if you look at losing to a PJ Walker-led Panther team that we thought was tanking.
He said PJ Walker.
PJ Walker. Then you lose to the Steelers with Mitch Trubisky having to come in. Then you lose to the Browns with Jacoby Brissett, and then you had everything. You needed Brady miracles to beat the Rams and the Saints, and then now you blow a big lead to the Bengals. Yeah. It's like the signs are there that this whole idea that like Brady can you're always in it because of Brady. I don't know anymore.
Right.
I don't know.
You have enough of a sample size that says you couldn't pull the Cleveland game out.
Yeah.
And you melted down in this game, and what's going to stop you from doing that coming up?
Yeah.
Okay, So here's where I came at it off the Buccaneers, Nothing But Bucs podcast, the official podcast. You essentially need 2 wins. And by God, go ahead and get those 2 wins right now, because I keep saying you're in agreement. You do not want to be in Atlanta with anything riding on it for Atlanta, especially.
No.
That is the last thing you want, the last game of the season on January the 8th. So if you get these 2 wins, you have all but locked it up. Those 2 wins get you to 8 wins. That eliminates the Saints no matter what they do for the last 3 games, because you have the tiebreaker on them.
Mm-hmm.
And it means that you will have eliminated the Panthers and all but eliminated the Falcons, because the Falcons have to win all 3 under this scenario that we're talking about if the Bucs have won 2 and gotten to 8. Now, let's play it out for Saturday, Christmas Eve Saturday. All 3 NFC South teams playing at the same time. All right.
That's right.
So as we look ahead, that is the Saints in Cleveland, who just beat Baltimore, and they've won some games. They beat the Buccaneers. They beat the Texans. Deshaun Watson is back. They've clearly shown that they can win some games. So that's going on. Simultaneous in Carolina, the Detroit team that has now won 6 of 7 is playing in Charlotte, and they have to win to stay alive in the NFC playoff picture. That's advantage Buccaneers. They're highly motivated.
Yep.
They have to stay alive. And simultaneous to those 2, Atlanta is in Baltimore playing the Ravens. Now, early in the week, we don't know if Lamar Jackson can play or not. Is it still Huntley, the backup? Snoop Huntley is his nickname, the backup. Baltimore at home. So if you're talking about presents under the tree, if you're talking about stocking stuffers, can we get a couple of losses Sunday, Christmas Eve, at least a couple of them before the Bucs ever take the field Sunday night? Because then the door is really open to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get all 3 of them, not realistic that you are going to get all 3 of them, but if you get all 3 losses, Cleveland beats the Saints, the Lions beat the Panthers, and the Ravens beat the Falcons. And again, Cleveland and the Ravens are at home on Christmas Eve. So those guys are traveling short week and playing Christmas Eve on the road. If you get all 3 of those wins and you take advantage of beating a depleted, beat up Arizona team, you are now in the driver's seat up 2 with 2 to go. And your magic number is essentially 1 win, 1 win to get to 8. And nobody else can get to 8 out of those 3. If they all lose this weekend, they can't get to 8. So here we go with the playoff scenarios, and I'm just glad that we're still talking playoff scenarios. I would much rather, and you guys know this, I would much rather be in the Buccaneers position than the Saints, the Panthers, and the Falcons chasing, because they've got to have multiple Buccaneer losses. You got to have a couple of Buccaneer losses, even if you beat them yourselves.
Right.
So the Bucs have been in this position before, chasing a game back, 2 games back late in the year. Right now, you're ahead by 1. And can I add one more thing? I know I'm filibustering here, but this is a good thing on playoff scenarios.
Of course.
Everybody making fun of the Bucs and the NFC South. It's only 2 years ago that the NFC East was horrific.
Right.
And the only reason that Washington got in was because they won a game late in the year that put them at that time, let me get my math correct, it put them at 6 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
They then lost the 14th game, just like the Buccaneers just did, that put them at 6 and 8. Guess what? The Washington Commanders lost the 15th game in the 16-game schedule that put them at 6 and 9. They were still a game in front of the Cowboys and the Eagles at 6 and 9.
Right.
And they won the final game to finish 7 and 9 and got to host the Buccaneers in the playoffs. So this is just 2 years ago. That we saw an equally disastrous division that somebody has to win.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, I'm all about getting the playoffs. Give me a playoff check. Let's have some postseason fun.
Pay for that Christmas.
And here we go. We got to pay for Christmas. We got to pay for orthodontics. We got to pay for college funds. I'm just here. I'm just here doing all this. So there's a little playoff talk on Tuesday and how much you're very much in this. So you got a lot of rooting interest on Christmas Eve afternoon on some NFC South losses, and then the door is open to go take advantage of Arizona if you can take advantage of them, and that's all you can do right now. And then from there, you're in great shape.
Well, let's just hope that they get that done, but still, if they make it to the playoffs, you just hope that something that clicked in that first half that Tony Romo is right, and they can
At that point, it's a one-game season. And by the way, for everybody that thinks the Cowboys are invincible, put the tape on in the second half in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Put the tape on and what happened to them, blowing a 17-point lead. I mean, if the Buccaneers hang on and win, the two stories are obviously the meltdown by the Colts, which is the lead, 33-point lead on the road. But the second biggest story is Dallas trying to chase Philadelphia, trying to lock up the 4 seed. They've now put it in play that they could lose to Philadelphia this weekend, and the Giants have the door open to be the 4 seed right now in the NFC East. It is still alive for late in the year. The Giants have to finish in front of them because the Cowboys have the tiebreaker. But
as my friend Nick aptly pointed out, as Washington was coming back from what would be the tying score, that Roger Goodell radioed the crew and said, "If you let these effing commandos, Mr. Snyder,
Sunday night, right,
win this game, you're all done. You're all done." I've never seen two worse officiated.
Well,
plays.
but hold on, Heineke throws the game-losing interception with a minute left in the end zone right to the Giant guy who drops it. So we're talking about early holiday presents. The game should have been over with right there.
Well, at that point, he said, okay.
That's a play on the field that is ending the game. They have one timeout left. The game is over, and the Giant guy drops it. And by the way, I'm about up to here. If the audience can't see me, I'm up to my eyebrows, and I'm tall. I'm up to here with the officiating as it is.
It's awful.
But for Terry McAuley to be sitting on national television as a former Super Bowl official and basically apologizing away that the Redskins Commanders football team can't line up correctly and don't have a guy on the line of scrimmage, you have to call that.
TJ, wait a second. McLaurin looked over at the side judge, and the side judge, he looked at him like they all do. Am I on the line? And the guy gave him the thumbs up. And then
all I know is ultimately
his flag, bro.
Ultimately, whose responsibility is it to be on that line?
He was on the line.
No, he wasn't. The
Yes, he
replay
was.
that they showed, they got it straight down the line. He's a yard off of it. They got a red line for the line of scrimmage. He's a yard off of it. It's his fault.
Then why did the guy give him the thumbs?
Ask him. I have no idea.
Reach for his flag.
I have no idea.
Goodell in his ear and said,
Maybe. But again, for Terry McAuley, but back to my point, McAuley is sitting on NBC. I'm watching late night. I might even been on the phone with you.
Yeah.
I'm calling JP. I got all kinds of things. I'm doing a show off the air. I'm surprised I didn't call Nick. I'm talking to everybody. But I'm watching a Super Bowl referee 2 times say that not lining up on the line of scrimmage in the clutch should not be called. Oh, really?
You're rephrasing. Well, he did.
Really?
No, he did say that if it's a matter of a half a yard, you don't make the call in that situation.
He said, I don't like making that call in this situation. What are you doing? If he's not on the line of scrimmage, the guy on the end is uncovered and he's an eligible receiver. So please, I'm up to here.
What
I'm
about
up to here.
On the next play that took place?
Sure. Sure. It is a mugging. I mean, nobody can defend that. It's a mugging. It's a blown call.
Yeah.
But like we're going to cry tears. We're going to cry tears over that. I mean, we've seen enough that makes you just that makes you shake your head on this. So anyway, Buccaneer fans, have some optimism because the Cardinals are in complete disarray. Right. Who knows if they can get it together? They got a coach on the way out the door. It's obvious.
Yeah. We'll see.
In Arizona. So you have a chance to take advantage. Let's see if you get some help on Saturday. And we will go from there. We will go from there this week of Christmas, holiday cheer, time with the family, and maybe going out to the desert for a couple of days will do this team some good on refocusing. I will say this. I hesitate to say it, but I'm about to say it. You cannot play any worse than they did for those 5 or 6 series. That's about as bad as you can possibly play.
Yeah,
over and over again with the mistakes.
If I'm not mistaken, there's a place out in the Sedona Desert where it's got some mystical powers. Or if you go out there and you Native American chanting or something out there, and
go find a teepee on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day,
smoke some of that, whatever they got in the cactus, whatever they do, and it can totally change your karma. So
it obviously hasn't helped the Cardinals, though. To your point, they haven't done that.
Maybe they haven't gone out there. So maybe the Bucs should take a little, scenic drive out to Sedona, smoke a little hoochka or whatever the hell they call that stuff, and change their whole mentality. Something. Hey, why not at this point, right? I'm all for it.
Well, we'll just stay positive and see what happens because, again, one thing begot another in that third quarter. And it was an avalanche. That's the best way to describe it. That just didn't stop. And the bigger thing is for the 45-year-old quarterback, we've now seen mortality the last couple of games, even in the Cleveland second half, a lot of the New Orleans game. You just hope he can hold it together because, again, he was killing this team with those mistakes. That was not the only thing, but when you're giving the ball right back to them on a Brady sack fumble where he doesn't protect the ball, on a Brady fumbled handoff where he's dropping the ball before it gets to Leonard Fournette, you are just giving the other team the game. Let's hope he tightens it up as well. Let's see.
All right, partner. Merry Christmas to you and yours.
Same to you guys. Hang in there, Buccaneer fans. We will be out in Arizona, and I pledge to be with you. And let's hope we're talking about a 7-win Buck team and clinching scenarios this time next week. I would like that under the tree. Can we talk to the big fella? Can we talk to Santa about that?
Let's do
it. We don't have chimneys. He's not coming down the chimneys in Florida. We used to hide, I don't know about your households, but we used to hide the magic key outside the door. That's how Santa got in, was the magic key to get in the door.
Sliding glass door open.
Or the sliding glass door, or whatever means necessary. Can I get that, please, from Santa? Absolutely. Can you guys get into that and check into that and get back to me? Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks, TJ. Appreciate it, brother.
Be well, guys.
Great TJ Reed. Nothing But Bucs podcast. Check it out. It is absolutely spectacular. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back and we'll wrap things up. We'll talk a little bit about the World Cup, which we didn't talk about at all on Monday. And Nick is just dying to talk about Argentina and Mbappe and France, all that good stuff. When we come back, stay with us. Was your car totaled in an accident? Did your insurance company use Kelley Blue Book or NADA to appraise the value of your car? Chances are they didn't, and you got shorted maybe thousands of dollars. Call the Jeeves Law Group for a free case evaluation because your insurance company may still owe you money. 727-894-2929. It's a free call, so why not find out if you have a case? Insurance companies have been running this scam for a while, and most folks don't know if they've been shorted. Trust me. Scott Jeeves is a different kind of attorney, the kind insurance companies hate to go up against. He could recover thousands of dollars, so why not call? 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you.
JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations.
Well, it's that time of year to renew or shop your health insurance provider, and you can get great health insurance for $20, $30, $50 a month. Just call 888-325-0605 to help navigate the health insurance marketplace. 1 out of 3 people in Florida are uncovered because they think they can't afford it. Not true. I made the call a couple of years ago, and they helped me get Blue Cross Blue Shield coverage, Florida Blue, for just $20 a month. Last year, it went up to $49. Oh, well. It all depends on your income and your family situation. It's a free call, 888-325-0605. They will ask for some income information. So if you have your tax returns available, that will be great, but you don't need it. They'll just answer some simple questions, and the highly trained reps will do the work for you to find out what your subsidy will be. 888-325-0605. And if you have a plan through your employer,
you may be able to get it cheaper. It's a free call, so find out, folks. This has been a lifesaver for me and saved me thousands of dollars over the last few years, and you can choose your plan. It's a no-brainer. Find out. Make the free call, 888-325-0605. Get covered like me and thousands of others, 888-325-0605. Oh, 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 Merry Christmas. Santa Claus here for the Gold and Diamond Source. All right, it's JP. The holidays are the best time for engagements, right? And where better to get that special ring than the Gold and Diamond Source? They have the largest selection of engagement rings in the country, a jewelry superstore with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. So avoid all the mall madness and the parking and all that BS and stay local, right? With the Gold and Diamond Source, Julie and Steve Weintraub are the family jewelers, and they'll treat you like family. And, of course, they do so many great things in the community. I was just at their Hands Across the Bay, a charity event. So many people stepped up to give money for these women that have been victims of domestic abuse. It is something to behold when these women come forward and talk about what Julie and Steve have done for them. And the Golden Diamond Source funds Hands Across the Bay, and so many other great companies jump in. That's what it's all about, community, right? So let's keep it local for the holidays. If you want a perfect gift for the holidays, you should check out the unique and beautiful handcrafted jewelry from the Emilique and Julie collections that feature fashion-forward gold, diamond, and gemstone jewelry. And don't forget, for the holidays only, 3 to 5 year interest-free financing. It's a no-brainer for the holidays. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Almerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. Hope you got your shopping done. The Golden Diamond Source is there and waiting for you. They're so fully staffed over there at the Golden Diamond Source that when you go in, even if it's crowded, you'll find somebody to help you out. And to me, that's what it's all about, because you go in there and you're like, hey, I have no idea what's hip right now and what's in and what the ladies want, right? So you go to the, you go find, they've got the Emily collection there, the Julie collection there. They've got so many different things, all different price points as well. So they can show you different things that you may not even think you can afford, but you can. And they got great prices there. Everything is on discount during the holidays. So it's a no-brainer. The Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Almerton Road. Just go on in there. Tell them JP sent you. If you're looking to get engaged, obviously that's the place to go, because you're going to get a great deal. And the other thing about getting engaged is you gotta have trust in your jeweler, right? You gotta trust these people, because they're telling you, hey, this diamond is this, it's that. I mean, what do we know? We don't freaking know. They sparkle, right? But you got to know it's worth the money, and it's graded out the way it's supposed to be graded out. And some of these places, they don't care. They'll put any grade on them, and you won't know the difference. And you're buying something completely overpriced. So you trust them. You know them. Julie and Steve Weintraub, great benefactors in this community. Go to the Golden Diamond Source and support those businesses that support your community like they do there. So and Merry Christmas to all the staff over there at the Golden Diamond Source. We love you folks, and thank you for being a great supporter of this show as well. All right, so one thing we didn't talk about yesterday, there's so much that happened on the weekend, was the World Cup, which many consider the greatest final of all time. As Argentina goes up in the first half, it's kind of like the Bucs game. The Bucs went out 2-0, and like France couldn't possess the ball. Like I literally turned it off. I was like, I'm just going to, I was in Orlando. I was like, I'll just drive back in the second half. This is going to be boring. Whoops.
Yeah.
Whoops.
I was the same way. Like, I had my Sunday hockey, and I was like, I'm probably going to miss the whole first half.
Right.
And then when I came back and it was 2-0, and I was like, all right, Argentina's got it in the bag. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh, France has no shots. For 60 minutes of the game, they had no shots on target at all.
How about that? I
mean, Mbappe had nothing. Antoine Griezmann, who's been one of the players of the tournament, got subbed off early because he just wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
I mean, one of their best players. And they said, he's not doing anything. See ya. I mean, that's the stakes right there. But I saw the entire second half from a Fishhawk Beefs.
Mm-hmm.
And the entire place was packed, and people were getting there to watch, football, right? But everybody in there, they had the football hadn't started yet. They had the game on. Everybody in there, probably not even a soccer fan, was fully invested into this game.
Wow.
And I love to see that. I love to see when people that aren't even really big fans of the game, everybody was looking at the TV and reacting to everything that went on, because it was madness. I mean, France gets a penalty. Mbappe, he puts it home, and then it's like game on.
Yeah.
And then Mbappe scores one of the better goals that we saw this tournament.
Yeah, I saw that one.
On the volley, in the corner. The level of difficulty there in that moment in a World Cup final is just unreal. He's an unreal player.
Yeah.
And you go to extra time and Messi scores and you're like, all right, that's it.
Argentina's
got it. And another penalty. 2 penalties awarded to France in 30 minutes. And was Mbappe really missing that penalty?
No.
It wasn't happening.
No.
Now, usually I don't like when finals go to penalties because it's skills competition. Right. I hate those type of things, but the drama there, it worked. It became one of the more dramatic finals. It wasn't the best final in terms of quality, but in terms of drama, Lionel Messi,
the end of it.
Lionel Messi getting his World Cup.
Yeah.
Which that to me, that's the biggest story, and rightfully so. You can have soccer debates all you want. Who's the GOAT, this and that, Pele, even the Ronaldo Messi debate. It's over. It is over. This is the greatest soccer player that this world has ever seen. And bar none. He had to win the World Cup to solidify it. He did it. And I'm just lucky enough as a soccer fan, I've gotten to see his entire prime. And he's not done, by the way, either. He didn't retire from international competition. He's 35.
35.
He's 35. I think he'd be foolish to come to
Ronaldo's 38.
He's going to be 38, yeah. I think Messi would be foolish to come to the MLS. As much as it'd be cool to see him come to America, he's too good, in my opinion, to come to the MLS. He's just at the top of his game still.
Wow. That's saying something. And to get that to cap off his career. Do we have the final goal?
Yeah, we'll play the final goal. Not much of a call here, but just listen to the sound.
Yeah.
The sound that the...
So now if Argentina scores on this one, who's taking this?
This was Gabriel Montiel, a unheralded right back of sorts.
Okay.
Who scores the game-winning goal.
Yes! Takes off the shirt.
That sound. Just the sound. The sound.
What God, can you imagine the pressure of that moment?
Yeah, and like again for Montiel, I mean, if you're looking at like the list of like the best Argentina players, he's not even in the starting 11. You don't even get to his name, but he comes up there and hits the biggest penalty. And I mean, yeah.
Wow. So and the US of course bows out in the round of 16. They get through the group stage. That's considered a win, right? That's considered the least acceptable result. And they were completely outclassed by the Netherlands in their knockout game, to the point where you felt like not even competitive. But I think there was some feeling in this group that we're going with the younger guys to set it up for 26, which will be in North America.
Yeah, listen, none of these guys are even like Pulisic's not even in his prime. He's 24 years old, and he's the elder statesman of the team.
Yeah.
When it comes to that young core, I mean, Giovanni Reina, he didn't hardly play. We'll see what happens in 4 years with his coach.
Yeah.
And their little dispute, but he's 19. Musa turned 20. McKinney's 23. Tyler Adams is 23. I mean.
And they played extremely well in the midfield.
Yeah,
that's something that
they outplayed England.
Yeah,
they outplayed England.
They just have no finishers to the level that
Mbappe
and
they're
and
missing.
Messi,
Let's see if they can develop a striker in the next 4 years.
Yeah,
somebody. I mean, because that's what they're missing at the moment.
Could be Reina.
Yeah, they're just lacking quality up front right now.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. It was fun to watch, but I'm glad the Qatar thing is done. It's November World Cup is stupid. It got you can't do it in the middle of football season in America. It's just dumb. It's not going to work.
And it's odd because like all of world soccer now starts next week.
Yeah, exactly.
We go right back into it.
Yeah. So that was disjointed. So we're done with that corrupt, ridiculous experiment in Qatar. Tear down the stadiums, all the people that died building them. I mean, just ridiculous. Such a awful. I mean, at least it was a great final, but the whole Qatar experience will go down in World Cup history as a disaster. Can't drink at the games, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Yeah. I'm happy that at least the outcome that most casual fans wanted to see happened. And at least we're going to remember it for that. Regardless of everything that happened.
Yeah, I guess.
This will always be the World Cup that Lionel Messi cemented himself as the greatest player.
And so now we move to 26 where games will be played in the United States and you'll have chances to go to these games. I went back in 94 to Orlando to watch the Irish and the Netherlands. I'll never forget it. It was an incredible experience as a fan. Loved every minute of it.
Yep.
And I can't wait to be part of it. Hopefully in a couple of years.
I think I'd rather go to Atlanta though than to Miami. If I'm sticking to like my close geographic region, I'd rather go to the game in Atlanta than the one in Miami.
Yeah,
that's me.
Where are they going to play that? Hard Rock or?
Hard Rock, yeah.
Not the Marlins Stadium.
Hard Rock.
Hard Rock. Yeah.
I think I'd rather go to the Benz.
Yeah, no question about it. No question about it. All right. I'd rather go someplace else too. All right, that'll do it for this show, folks. We'll be back on Wednesday. We're going to do a Rays special talking about the stadium. And also we're going to rerun our interview with Hall of Famer Fred McGriff, which was so much fun, where he talked about the new stadium. He talked about the Rays, his time with the Rays, so much fun. And we'll talk about the new stadium and everything, what the options are. So we'll have that for you on Wednesday. Have a great shopping day, everybody. Our thanks to all of our great sponsors. The Golden Diamond Source, head on over there. American Mortgage Services, Scott Fitzgerald, AMS, BAMMC.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, the Jeeves Law Group, Emerging Investigations, Italiano Insurance, all of our great sponsors. Please visit them and support them as they support this show. Have a great day, everybody.